Hello, thank you for coming to my channel. I'm going to do a pick-a-read this time around. The pick-a-read I'm going to do is it all good? In other words, what you're looking at, should you be comfortable with that? Should you not? There's probably something that you're questioning as you're coming to this video, or even if you're just kind of like, I'm open to the message, show me what you got. It's more about making sure whatever you have is the truth, and either you can make it better, or maybe there's something they want you to be aware of. So going into this, I'm going to use two decks. I'm going to use the Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn, and I'm going to use the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. I'm very into these decks, gotta be honest with you. I was going to add a different deck in today, but I just didn't feel that that was the thing to do, so I changed my mind. So we're going to do 5 piles if I can. That's too far over. Are we over this way? Yes. This one, go over that way a little bit more. Sometimes it's a lot of fun just making sure they get on camera, I swear. Alright, let's keep going. Okay, so there's the tarot cards. Are we in frame still? I think so. I think we got even amounts of that one. That's cool. Not that it matters either way, but got those out there. Now we're going to do our stones. And that one. Okay, so the order I'm going to do these in. Clear crystal quartz. It's a ball, but it's clear crystal quartz. Tiger's eye. Snow quartz. Lapis Lazuli. Rainbow titanium quartz. No, rainbow titanium hematite. Okay. There we go. So I said this one first, I think. Okay, so let's get these over to the side and see what we have coming in for our messages. Assuming I did these the way I said. Okay, so clear crystal quartz, typically an amplifier, making something stronger. Oh, I forgot the, I know what I forgot. And I'm just going to put them on now. Just going to... Okay, so there's messages with each of them too. I just forgot about them till just now. So let's see. Oh, those are both upside down. Sometimes the oracle cards here, they go back and forth for me. Sometimes they're advice, sometimes they're indicators of what's going on. So the koala and the rhino reversed. I feel like already this is saying whatever you're dealing with, and what does this say? Because I feel like you need to be careful not to be too stubborn. Why am I here on my own? Why am I here on my own? Okay, so is it all good? I feel like, and I kind of relate to this myself, this might be a situation where you do what you feel is correct, and it's not that you're wrong, which is very interesting with is it all good? You walk away from things when you feel it's appropriate. This makes perfect sense to me. That's what I would do. If something isn't right, doesn't seem to be going the way it should be, it's seeming more toxic or something like that, you're like, well, I don't think this is for me. But the first thing I'm getting, and again, I do this, is saying don't walk away from something. Even though you're seeing it correctly, there may be another reason you're a part of the situation. Don't walk away from a situation that actually, maybe the reason you're brought to the situation is to help create a situation or create change here. Why am I here on my own? It feels like whether you're a part of whatever it is, walking away or not, it feels very much kind of like you feel like you're standing on your own. it's not so much if there's physically somebody around you, it's about how you're truly feeling. Like, I'm on my own, I'm doing it by myself, I feel like I have control, but it's telling me if you keep going this direction, it's kind of feeling like you're trapped, like you're stuck. And it's almost like you feel limited. Like, what do we have? Like, it's kind of like no matter where I go, it's like I'm getting into a clown car whenever I deal with other people. Or I keep finding these toxic situations that are not right for me, and I know better than to stay in those. But what is it I need to do? And be careful with this. Like, it depends on the toxic situation. Like, if it was a relationship, I don't know. I feel like, personally, I'd be like, no, don't hang around for that. But I feel like what they're saying is you might need to be the example before you walk away, the koala reversed. Because koala is very self-sufficient, in my opinion. They do what they want. Koala reversed is saying, before you walk away, maybe reevaluate yourself. And what part of this situation could you do better? I'm really kind of connecting to this. It's kind of like when you reverse this and you're like, what could I do better? There's usually something you're like, well, I can't tolerate the toxicity. And you don't want to do that. But you got to be sure also at the same time you're not playing into it. Because if it's really a toxic situation, if it's truly toxic, it'll try to pull you in. There's some type of hook that will try to pull you in and try to get you to play along. And you got to think to yourself, am I currently playing along with this? Am I making this worse? Is there a way I can set the example and try to not play along with it and give the situation a chance to correct itself? Take that with a grain of salt. If there's physical violence here, you definitely don't want to be hanging around for that. If there's mental abuse here, that's another thing. I'd say do not hang around for that. But if it's somebody where you have bad behavior in the sense of like somebody's acting like a bratty child and they're at a place in life where there's no excuse for that. Let's do that. Let's not even put an age with it. They're at a place in life where there's no excuse for them being a bratty child. Maybe the way you handle this person and see if you can do it that way, give them a chance to pull themselves together. If it doesn't seem to work out, then walk away. Because I feel like you don't want to get trapped with your outcome. The way you're going here, like by doing things differently, is very stressful. It's very stressful for you, but judgment will go in your favor. I feel like for a lot of you, the situation you'll still end up walking away from the situation anyway, but other doors will easily open for you because you're out there you have the willingness to try to make things better. It seems to pull you into a different type of energy and pulls other things around you that, aren't the easiest situations, but you're going to move more towards situations where, life isn't perfect. It's rare that we hit a situation that's perfect in life. I'm sorry, but that's truly how I feel about it. Life is about challenges. But you're moving more towards things that are actually doable to look at differently. This really makes me nervous when it comes to relationships because I feel like a lot of us get stuck in toxic situations one way or another, and it's kind of like trying to pull out of something and not play into it anymore, but at the same time literally working on it and understanding our role in the situation that keeps it perpetuating. Especially if you're a person, like I have done this myself, and it's took me years to kind of hopefully break a pattern where I was kind of attracted to people who made me feel bad and made me want to be the one fixing things. They would make messes, blow things up, and I'd be thinking I had to fix it as if it was my fault. And now I've kind of moved into a different era where I'm like, you know what? I know I'm not perfect, but it's about holding my head high, not allowing somebody to use their shortcomings against me as well as my own. I know I have shortcomings, but not allowing somebody to do that finger pointing thing and be like, you know what? I'm not doing it. And standing my ground, being like, you know what? There's problems here, and I'm owning mine. You need to own yours. And this might be what you're going towards here. It's all about not ending in a space where you feel trapped. Because the rhino reversed is feeling like even at some point you're going to have to get out of the same way of thinking to release yourself from this. I feel like a lot of you who this is going to connect with, like you detach yourself from bad situations, and you're usually right, but it's kind of like what you're doing to get out of the situation, or if the situation is warranted for another shot or another chance, or giving somebody else a chance to do right. You got to use that with a grain of salt, though, because if you're in a violent situation, physically or mentally, somebody who's really bad, like you should have like a sounding board, have a good friend around you, hopefully, or a good contact where you can bounce this off of them and ask them, how bad is this really? If I give this a shot, or if I try to give this person a chance to talk this out or work a different way, Do you think that's going to set me up for further badness, further dismay, further whatever? Or do you think there's an actual chance that, things might improve here? Should I be giving somebody a chance? Should I not be giving somebody a chance? Definitely you want a person to be your sounding board. Run this by somebody else. Definitely. Because you just don't want to be like, a lot of us can be very self-sufficient, but at the end of the day, if we're self-sufficient on our own, and we still have a pattern that we just seem to keep falling into, the whole point is to, overcome this pattern and not just shut it down and kind of like put it on pause. Because I feel like, and I was one of these people, you walk away from something, you're like, that's not right, that's not something I should stand for, and you feel like now that you shut it down and walked away, you're done with it, when in truth, you're putting it on pause. Whatever it was that attracted you to that situation to begin with, you're going to be attracted to it again, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, wait a minute, I'm in this situation again. Last time this happened, I walked away, so I'm going to do that again, and you just find yourself in this vicious circle of walking away and wondering, how come I keep ending up all on my own when I feel like I'm doing the right thing? There's a different way to look at things. You definitely want a sounding board. Be very careful with this. And feeling for the right people that will make sense. You'll know what to do with that. It may be somebody who you feel like they're not the best person. They feel, to you, they seem very greedy. And it might be one of those people that you consider a friend, but they're greedy, and you're starting to question, am I just here to be your money bags? Instead of just shutting them down and avoiding them altogether, just kind of like when it comes to money, you're like, listen, you're going to have to pay for your own stuff. I'm not doing that anymore. That would be a healthy example I'm feeling. Like if you start walking away, like, I'm not paying your way anymore. That's one thing. Somebody who makes inappropriate jokes, I'm getting, is another one. Something where you're like, I don't like this. They make fun of certain type of people or certain type of situations, and I don't like it. I don't want to be associated with that, so I'm going to cut them off. Instead, letting that person know you're not okay with that. You don't think it's funny, and you don't want that happening. You don't want to be associated with it. Giving them the chance to realize their behavior is unacceptable. Those are the acceptable ways to look at this. I hope that helps. All right, we're going to let that one go. All right. So that's the first one. I'm going to move my crystal out of the way here. That was a very interesting one. I feel like that first one right off the bat was intense. Whew, so let's see who that helps. I'll be watching the comments for that one. Like, uh-oh. Because that seemed very, that one made me nervous. Kind of like, I don't want to tell anybody to stick in a bad situation. I'm not about that. But at the end, since we did the examples, I think we're okay. The second one here, the tiger's eye. Okay, we got that. Now, I'm curious if these are going to come upside down or right side up. They're upside down again. That's upside down. That's upside down. That's right side up. We got one right side up card, which doesn't mean anything in the sense of if things are going good or bad. Keep that in mind. Sometimes upside down cards, like the Ten of Swords upside down, is much better than right side up. It still has its hardness, but it's not as bad, at least. Same thing with the Devil card, you know what I mean? So some upside down cards are okay. True friend or just an acquaintance? So is it all good? Is it really all good? And it says true friend or just an acquaintance. Now I'm feeling this can definitely go into other relationships. This can go into romantic relationships, business relationships. This can go into how you feel about your parents, how your parents or grandparents or even siblings connect to you. Just keep that in mind. It could be a family connection, business, could be romantic, could be literally just a friend. But let's keep this in mind going in, because the energy is telling me the grasshopper reversed is kind of like when the chips are down, where have you seen this person? Not just for you, but for other people. And I feel like this is the difference between anxiety and just not caring. If you watch whoever you're wondering about, or hopefully somebody's popping into your mind, when things start getting rough, do they kind of crumble and just kind of disappear? Do they have a hard time dealing with stress? Or is it one of those things where, when the chips are down and they're really needed, if they don't feel like they want to deal with something, they just don't. It feels like this is a tricky start, because for some people, you'll notice you have friends or family, and there's times where you really need them, and they're nowhere to be found. It literally could be anxiety, or just they literally can't handle it. They're not strong enough to handle it. They just kind of fall apart. They just can't deal with it. They probably have hard time dealing with their own stuff. They may just feel like they've been avalanched into something and they just fall apart or just freeze. Or is this a situation where the person you're thinking about, they just don't care. And it's kind of like whatever's right for them, that's what they do. Because I'm getting the Prince of Pentacles is like this situation should be changing or going towards a change. Because I feel like this person, they're giving you a heads up about this person. This person is literally going to get cornered. So I'm getting this person who seems like it may be a person that you currently think when the going gets tough, they're nowhere to be found. And you're not really sure if they're a true friend or not. When things are nice and good, they seem very helpful and around all the time. When things are bad and rough, you're like, hello, where have you been? Are you around? Do you answer your phone anymore? Hello, I haven't seen you. This person will get cornered. The Princess of Cups to me, it's kind of telling me, I feel like, especially in this deck, the princesses and princes, they kind of flounder back and forth between page and knight energy for me, the way I read. I'm an intuitive reader, so it might not be true for everybody, just telling you how it is I read them. But especially with this hanging up, it's almost like it's pointing at this moment. When they get blocked in and they are forced to deal with something, you may notice them going completely to pieces. Completely to pieces. You also may notice them really getting very nasty and very mean. I feel like for a lot of you, you're going to notice one or the other. They go completely to pieces and you didn't expect it, or they get really, really vicious, which is also telling me that they don't handle conflict very well at all. This might be why they avoid conflict, because they don't handle it very well, and they know it. And they feel like they make bad situations worse. Watch this play out. Watch this play out, and if you feel something is getting out of hand, if you can, use a grain of salt. Be very careful about this. Try to move it apart. Try to let it wash away. Try to make it dissipate or come apart, or not come apart in a bad way, but try to get people to leave each other alone for a while. Because I'm feeling you're going to see with this person what's really going on behind the scenes. Now, if you see this person handle a situation that they're getting blocked into, and you're starting to realize, they can handle these things with ease. In fact, they do make things better. You don't really see the issue here. I feel like that's a very rare few of you. It might be one of those things where you're like, wait a minute, is this person really a friend to me or an acquaintance? Are they really there for me when I need them? Or is this something where unless it suits them, they're not going to be around because they just don't want to deal with it if they don't have to deal with it? Watch what's coming forward. This moment is saying, it's letting you know if it really is all good or not. The Queen of Pentacles coming forward, the Lizard Spirit reversed. The lizard reversed, I like that reverse, to tell you the truth. Because when I think of a lizard, I think of a little, like a newt running all over the place, behind leaves, under things, behind rocks. Like, they're hard to get a hold of, right? They're hard to know what's going on there, where they living, where they hiding, They're just quick little creatures. They're a little creepy. I mean, some people like that. That's cool. I think they're a little creepy. But what I'm getting, especially connected with the Queen of Pentacles, is kind of like from this moment, you're going to be able to kind of connect to this person in a more honest fashion. I feel like you're going to start talking to this person differently. You're going to help this person and try to understand what happens when they hit stressful situations. I feel like you're going to take this more seriously in the sense of like, okay, when stressful things happen, this is where they go. This is what happens for them. So I'm going to look at them in a different light. And I feel like when the lizard is reversed, it stabilizes things. Instead of the lizard running all over the place and not knowing exactly what's going on with this thing, it stays still and it works with you. And it's kind of like, almost like a lizard that feels like you're a protection. They will go towards the protection. They will go towards the heat that makes them feel safe. They will hide where they feel like they can hide. This person may actually end up hiding their feelings with you. What are we talking about that? They might confide in you. I feel like that's the better way to put it. You might find out that you get closer to this person, and this person may confide in you how they really feel about things and what really makes them nervous and how angry they really get or how afraid they really get, one of the two. Be careful. Keep that in mind, because especially if they blew up and they got really nasty, that might be a way for them to kind of sort out their feelings. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it, but that might be like they might say some mean things about something or a situation, and that's their way of processing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's a good way. I'm just saying that might be a way that they start dealing with it, and they may have to start developing a different way to do that, but that's a whole nother ball of wax. This person may end up confiding in you. You may end up a lot closer to this person. For some of you, this is your partner, like your romantic partner. And I feel like this might be while at the same time removing a wedge that could have been quietly between you. It's like a tolerated wedge between you. It could make you a little uncomfortable to know that they're really unstable in like a fearful way or in an angry way when it comes to this. So it might make you uncomfortable. You might want to have somebody to reach out to in an acceptable way to deal with this. Just be careful. The tiger's eye coming in with it. I was going to go into the meaning, but I'm getting blocked. They're like, leave that there. It's just for pulling people towards the reading, so leave it alone. So I'm going to leave it alone. Which is funny because... No, I'm getting leave it alone, so I'm going to leave it alone. I almost want to prove I know what that means, but I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay? Anything else with this? Alright, so that is... Which is funny that I know what it means and I'm not supposed to say, because usually the meanings will fall out of my brain as I'm reading, but whatever. Not for nothing, if you really want to know the meaning of that, all you gotta do is look it up on Google or Bing or whatever you're gonna do. Or Cosia, is that another one? Alright, so that one I feel is good. I feel like I never do those, like, those pretty fun, like, I watch some other readers and they have these pretty fun readings, like, everything is great, everything is wonderful. I feel like that is so rare for me. There's usually some challenge, like, this is what you gotta watch out for, this is what you need to do so it doesn't get too bad, or this is what would make that better. I seem to be one of those readers. Oh, is this gonna make me a liar? That'd be funny. Watch this be a good one, right? Watch this be one of those ones that I was just complaining about, like, I never get one of those nice, pretty ones, and then bam, they're like, here, shut up. What does it say here? Don't wish it away. Ooh, see? Well, I whined about it. I have a feeling this is going to be a good one. Still cracks me up that I whined about it. How dare I? Let's move you over here so you can see this. The deer spirit. When I feel that coming in, it says, bring a gentle touch. When I think of deer, especially this one, because it's a young one, I'm assuming. It could be a doe, but I think it's a young deer, honestly, which is not gender specific, as far as I can tell. It's kind of like one of those situations where things don't really happen in a very grand way. They're very beautiful, and it's a good connection you have with someone. I feel like this is, for the majority of you, it's a someone thing. Like you're thinking about a person. It could be a situation, don't get me wrong. General read, you take it the way you need to. But it's kind of like you feel good or you feel happy around a situation. You feel calm. You're also kind of like, you know, things are tranquil. As long as things are tranquil, things are easy. All right, don't wish it away. But at the same time, it seems like nothing really... It's like this. There's nothing really difficult really happens here. Nothing really... Like, there's no fireworks is what I'm also getting. Like, there's nothing truly exciting. This might be a person you're connected with that you may see as boring. Which I struggle to use that word because I don't like calling people boring, because I know it's all subjective based on how we relate to each other. Boring for you could be exciting for somebody else, because I know that. You probably don't too if you're really connecting to this. Kind of like you're like sitting here watching TV that's boring to you. But that may be what excites somebody to hang out with somebody and how they like to get to know somebody. That's how they feel comfortable. To them, that's an exciting afternoon. I know, but I'm just saying. Don't wish this away. It seems like it's a stagnant situation. But the connection with this person is there. Especially with the deer energy, I feel like it's a very beautiful, very happy to be around energy. And I will definitely be honest here, when I think of deer and a deer is close by, or like one walks through my backyard, I just think that's so cool. I just, like, it's nice that they're around. You just want to stand still and be quiet and just see how long they're going to last. And just let them kind of hang out and just enjoy and just watch them. But it kind of feels like this situation, kind of like it's a beautiful thing, but it's kind of like it can't withstand a lot of pressure is what you're also thinking. So you're like, you know, as long as things are cool, things will be fine. They're also saying, don't walk away from this. Don't wish this away. This situation is a slow start for most of you. This is going to get deeper as time goes on. Because I also feel like for a lot of people watching, the person you're thinking about is still bonding with you. And I feel there's definitely going to be comments, and like, I've known this person for X amount of years. Like, how long do they need? Like, it may not be like so much as time as like when a situation comes forward, and it's kind of like really time to see the brass of a situation. What's really holding this together? What's really needed here? Do they really come through when they need to? Because I feel this connection getting stronger with time. The Princess of Pentacles, I love the Princess energy in this deck because I don't feel like it's stable as a page or as a knight. I feel like they go in between, especially because, you know, princesses usually become queens, at least in my mind, they do. So this is somebody where you're looking at the situation where it's not quite at fruition yet, not quite at its optimal, not quite at its most powerful, but it's heading where it's getting stronger over time. This will keep getting stronger. This is one of those things that just seems to keep getting stronger. Don't wish this away. Be careful to look at this situation more with a positive, half-full situation. If you tend to see the negative or you tend to see what's lacking, it may become overwhelming and you may get really upset with the situation. That could compound problems. Really kind of like honor it for the good parts. Handle the negative. You don't want to ignore the negative, but you want to like make sure that you really accentuate the good and deal with the negative. I think that's hard for some people. You want to like promote the good stuff, praise the good stuff, but always also make sure you deal with the negative in the sense of like, is it appropriate to handle it now, or is it better to give it a little bit more time to simmer, but always keeping your eye on it at the same time? I know that may seem counterproductive, but I'm kind of getting like promote the positive, keep an eye on the negative, and deal with it when absolutely necessary. Keep going forward. Okay, the dolphin, this says this and that are true. I have to be honest. When I feel dolphin, I learn dolphin is love. Like, that's a very community, like, I've always learned dolphin is love. So, I'm not saying that's the way everybody should view it. I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from, just so you know, because, you know, I read intuitively. Flamingo, to me, is like a showman. That's, like, look at, they're a beautiful bird. They got that beautiful pink going on. This says embrace the in-between. This also, to me, when I think of flamingo, it's almost like the possibly unattainable, because they stand on that 1 foot, you know what I mean, and they're above the water. So it's almost like, are they above the situation? Like the ducks are on the water, they're above the water. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, is it really an attainable situation? So it's like seeing it honestly. Is this situation really going forward? It's kind of like realizing the connection here. And the attainable, like, this is attainable is basically what this is saying, in case I'm making that confusing. This is attainable over time. This is going to get stronger and more enjoyable over time. The love, the attainable, the showmanship. This is going to get more enjoyable over time. That's what I'm also getting with the flamingo. More fun, more joy. It's just like, I feel like this has to come more, it's like I'm waiting water to boil. You know what I mean? A watch pot never boils. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that saying. This situation needs to kind of go up a level. It's like a tepid simmer at the moment. You're like, is this ever going to boil? And they're saying it will. For some reason, this person still has to let down some walls, whoever this is. And when those walls come down, things change. I feel like whoever this is also a lot more fun than you're seeing. They might be a little bit self-conscious, or maybe like when they were younger, they might have been made fun of or kind of demeaned. What's the word? I want to say dehumanized for some reason. I don't know, like when I feel dehumanized, I'm like, that's not just being made fun of, that's being ridiculed and like beat down, like severely made fun of for trying to enjoy something. It almost reminds me of like dancing. For some people, I feel like they try to dance and then they get just so ridiculed to the point where they just feel, you know, abused by the treatment they get, that they just will not dance, and they don't want to dance. They don't want to dance with anybody else. They don't want to see anybody dance. They get that negative on the whole situation. Something like that. So for some of you, you might deal with somebody who's been dehumanized in some type of situation, and they really hold those things close because they don't want to be made fun of, or they almost feel like people ridicule them for something they truly do love that you would also love, but they just don't feel like they can do it, or they just don't feel like it's something they should be doing. Something like that. Keep that in mind. Is there anything else with this one? I like this. I think this was a good one. I think that was a good one. I'll see the comments, of course, if y'all are like, listen, I saw that snow quartz, and no. No, I was not enjoying it. So, hopefully you did enjoy it. I hope so. All right. Let's go to the next one. Lapis Lazuli. What do we have for Lapis Lazuli? This is another one where I know what this stone means, and I know a lot of you do in that part too, but I'm getting like it's not about the stone, don't do that, so I'm holding off with my whole comment about the stone, what the stone means, because I feel like that can sometimes change the message, and I don't feel like that's what I should be doing right now. Ooh, okay, I like this. Not that I shouldn't, not, okay, never mind. Just keep going forward. Let's go forward. I'm noticing like the descent, but I'm noticing that as this goes down, the cards improve. Now, you're starting off here with the bee, which is a lot of, it's people working together. It almost seems like the hive mentality. It reminds me of Star Trek, the Borg on the Star Trek, where like we all think the same, we all have the same, we're all the same. What does this say? I feel trapped or kept. Do I feel trapped or kept? Let's see where that goes. Because I feel like the difference between trapped and kept is like is it by choice or not by choice? Trapped is kind of like you're trapped or screwed. If you're kept, it's kind of like questioning: are you allowing yourself to be kept? You know what I mean? If you're kept, you have some freedom, but you might be telling yourself that you're trapped. But maybe you're not as trapped as you feel you are. I'm thinking a lot of you. This is either family or business. Could be other things. Could be definitely romantic relationships, but family and business really hit hard with this one. Because I almost feel like you don't think you have any choice with the situation. And you're like, as long as it's going well, I guess I'm fortunate. If it's not going well, I'm kind of stuck with it. I have a feeling there's going to be people, and maybe a lot of you, who kind of came to this hoping for something good, and you're like, you're accentuating or telling me about something I already know, something I'm already trapped in and I can't get out of. And they're saying, well, maybe you do have a way out of this. Maybe it's just addressing and looking at what it would take to get your power back. Because the Five of Swords reversed is kind of like, it feels like it's completely out of your hands. That's how I feel about the Five of Swords reversed. Right side up, it's kind of like the fruitless win. Reversed, it just feels like it doesn't matter. You don't really have a say in what happens. You just kind of like, I'm just here. I have to go with it. It's like I'm in the lifeboat and I don't have control of the oars. Wherever they go, I'm here. There's nothing I can do. I'm in the boat. I'm not going to get out of the lifeboat because I'm going to drown. So wherever they say we're going, I don't have a say in it. I'm just going because I have to. I have no choice. The Alchemist reversed, that's a lot like the Magician. I feel it the same as the Magician. I have that same energy field, but I also feel like there's a focus element to this. The Alchemist, the difference between the Alchemist and the Magician for me is like the focus, kind of like looking at the details and getting very nitpicky sometimes. That's the difference here. Kind of like when you have alchemy, to me it seems like you have to have precise measurements, or you're going to possibly have a different outcome that you don't want. The Magician seems a little bit more fluid, just to be fair. And I'm getting this reversed, kind of like this is really, you're not feeling empowered at first. And I'm getting this at first with the kept especially. You're not feeling empowered, but I'm also seeing like you're starting to see your way out of this situation. It's kind of like you're in that lifeboat, right? And off in the distance, you're seeing that desert island, or you're seeing land, and you're like, you're thinking to yourself, I know how to float, I know how to swim. If I get out of the boat now, if I get out of this life raft now, even though they're not going that way, they're going completely somewhere else that I don't believe in. If I get out of this life raft now, I'm on my own, but I know I can float and I can swim and I can make it there, and I'll be fine. It's just like I just have to have the guts to do it by myself, because I feel like I'm going to be floating on my own, and I'm going to be very scared to do that. But I also feel like if I do it, I'll have control back. And it's very scary. Like that analogy especially to me is it's terrifying to me, quite frankly. To get out of that life raft, to feel like you're doing the right thing, being like, I know how to float and I know how to swim, so I can do it intermittently. I won't get, I'll do it. I can successfully do this. It's a long trip. It's a scary trip, but I know I can do it. The question is, does my freedom, does having my self-control back, would it mean enough to me? And realizing like, all right, am I trapped, or am I literally allowing myself to be kept? Moving forward, you got the Ten of Cups. I'm feeling if you stand up and make a decision to change, you will not be going on your own. It's almost like looking at this situation. You see the desert island, or you see that land over to the side there. You know it's a better solution for you. The boat is not going that way. But if you go, there will be others who go with you, and you will not be going alone. And I feel like that's the Ten of Cups. Making this change means you're not going by yourself. It doesn't mean the situation's going to change to your liking, but I feel like you will not be going by yourself. You'll have more support. The Ten of Cups is like feeling secure with family and friends. I'm also getting the Spider. Spider to me is communication. That's the way I learned it. Here it says, make your dreams real, which, you know, the Dreamweaver's web, I get that. You know, what do you call that? You know, the web you hang above your bed. It's usually out of some type of yarn or cord. My brain just stopped. It doesn't matter. I'm feeling like it's about communication. Even dreams are communication, not for nothing. But I feel like once you start doing this, not only do you have allies that you were not expecting, but I feel like they bring in more resources here, and this is going to actually be where things get a lot better for you. Now it's funny that, like, it's obvious, like, you know, for those who know what Lapis Lazuli here, it's usually about communication. At least the way I've been looking at it, it's been communication. That's how I learned it. And the wish band there is telling me a wish coming true. Like, things might get better, might get much, much better than you ever expected just by stepping up and saying, you know what, I'm going to make my choice and go forward, and you're going to realize you do have allies, and more is going to come in here than you expect. Because I feel like that's part of this. Is it all good? Because a lot of you, I feel like you're at the precipice of this. Kind of like, if I do that, it looks like it's going to be great. But is that true? Or am I just, you know, telling myself what I want to hear? No, it's worth it. It's worth it. Go ahead. Take it with a grain of salt. With all these readings, they're general readings. Think it through for yourself. Decide what you need to do. But I'm getting, if this is all hit, that you should be able to go forward. All right. That, my friends, is Lapis Lazuli. And we have one more left. So let's pick these up. Let's see what the last one is. Rainbow Hematite. You know, not for nothing, in case any of you want to know, this dusty stone here that I keep on the sill, this is rainbow titanium quartz. This is not the stone that I'm using today, but for some reason I referenced it, so in case you wanted to see it, there you go. This is rainbow hematite. Okay. Our last one. The crow. Alright, there's like, I feel like there's a boundary here, or like, it's almost like jumping the broom. But jumping the broom. Now, if I think jumping the broom, I want to say that that's a wedding or a marriage reference, a hand fasting reference. Kind of like saying, you know, I'm going from one part of life into the other, and I'm accepting what this is going to be. I'm choosing to go here. I'm choosing to go into this next phase. And I almost feel like that's part of this, because that's how I'm viewing it. Making that choice and where this choice will lead you. Is it all good? Make that call. It is worth it. Make that call. Now, before we go too far, this is about you deciding what you want, where you need to be. Five of Cups and the King of Swords. And the crow reversed especially. I feel like the crow being reversed is being silence. I feel like that's silence about your true concerns. Your true concerns are being silent. This is, okay, all right, I get it. There are things in this situation that are not the best. There's things in this situation that are not right. Your voice needs to be heard. Crows need to be heard. Like, that's one of the things they're known for, being squawky and loud, and some people don't like that. Other people are okay with it. I'm one of those people, I'm okay with it, because I feel like when you start noticing them, there's a reason you're noticing them. The crow reversed tells me there's a message here that's being silenced. There's a warning here that's being silenced. Somebody is really talking very strongly. You might even be convincing yourself of something, trying to be like, no, I just got to have the good attitude. I got to fake it till I make it. I just got to believe in it, and it'll be okay. Five of Cups is telling me this is not all good. When you look at the half full, half empty, or is it half full or half empty? You know, if you have 3 cups poured out and 2 cups still have liquid, it's more empty than full, in my opinion. I'm getting you're trying to look at it in a positive way, which is so ironic for the Five of Cups, because it's usually saying, you're looking at disappointment. But it's almost like you're trying to, somebody's trying to, or you're trying to override that, kind of like, no, look at the good. No, don't think of it in a bad way. No, make that call. It is worth it. It's like, search out those worries. If you're worried that something isn't right, it may not be right. You need to look at the details. Look at it honestly. If this is more against you than for you, address that. Go forward and figure that out before you go forward. Once you jump this broom, once you go into this situation, it's going to take a life of its own, is what I'm getting. The antelope is telling me it's going to go really fast. It's like being on a roller coaster. It's just hard to stop and look around. There's going to be a lot of good here, but the Nine of Cups, or the Nine of Pentacles, is talking about a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. It's almost like having that really great job that has really great benefits and really good vacation time, but it's at what cost? It's almost like, but the job you're doing, it's almost like, you get a really good pay, you get really good vacation, but you're taking down and out people and you're making their lives more worse. You know what I mean? It's like, these people who aren't doing well as it is, I'm getting them deeper into debt. I'm taking advantage of people. But my life is good. That's the thing here. That's like the devil is holding up this situation. They're saying whatever you're getting involved with, be very careful. Because when it comes to the end of the road, you might look back and be like, it seemed okay when I did it, but now that I'm looking back, I don't feel like I did the right thing. Things went so fast, it seemed okay at the time, it seemed okay going into it, but now that it's all said and done, you look back and you're like, I don't like that I was a part of that. I really feel like that's what it's saying. They're saying, no, look at the details. Look at the details. Make that call. In other words, if you're like, I would like to build a house here and everybody else says it's okay, so let's just go forward with it. Let's just build it. Yeah, if you made the call, you'd be like, well, it's on shale, or it's on some type of shaky rock, or there's something beneath it that's not suitable for a house. Maybe the land you're looking at has a history of contamination, and if you're out in the country and you need to dig a well, any well you dig there is going to have poisoned water. So it's not drinkable. You really shouldn't have it on your clothes. You can't really wash with it. You wouldn't wash with poisoned water, would you? I don't think I would. That's what they're saying. If you're like saying this, that's what they're saying with this. They're like, oh no, it looks good. Everybody says this piece of land is great. It's wonderful. There shouldn't be a problem. Let's just go ahead and do it. But you're like, something's bothering me. I feel like I should check on the land or something. Check on it. If you find out that land is contaminated and you can't drill a well and you're out in the country, then what are you going to do? Like, even if you're going to ship in drinking water, if it's poisoned, you probably shouldn't be washing in it either. You shouldn't be cleaning things with poisoned water, should you really? Like, just because you heat it up, it doesn't automatically mean it's sterile or safe, in my opinion. I'm just saying. And not for nothing, this is another thing. Even if you can take that water and you can do stuff to it to make it pure or make it usable, if the land around you is poisoned, what else is that getting into? What other problems could you have? What other sicknesses could you end up with? I'm just saying. So they're saying if you're having those inklings, look at the details. Look at the details so that way you're not looking back years from now like, if I had known 20 years ago that this land was this bad, I never would have moved here because this one got cancer, that one had that problem, somebody else had a child that was born with problems, and it looks like it's all linked because we didn't have these problems in the family until we moved here. I'm sorry, but sometimes that happens. And you want to see this before it's a problem. I'm just saying, if you look at the details and you find out what it is, it may not be nearly that bad, but I feel like that's really, that was grim. Like, that was grim, was it not? They're saying, look at those details. Find out the truth. Find out the truth. And make your decision accordingly. Like, if you find out that land is contaminated, what does that now mean to you? What has that now changed of the situation? Are we good? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.